Silicon Valley is gearing up for next year's US midterm elections and putting more than $100 million behind a new network of political action committees, or PACs, which are designed to protect the AI industry from heavy regulation. There is a new major, what they call a super PAC called Leading the Future, that is backed by venture firm Andreessen Horowitz, OpenAI president Greg Brockman, and other major players. Their pitch, according to them, is that they're not necessarily pushing for total deregulation, but they want to stop what they see as overreach, like state by state rules or proposals to slow down AI development until safety concerns are resolved. The group plans to fund candidates it views as AI friendly and target those that says could stifle innovation. Leaders describe themselves as a quote counterforce to voices warning of catastrophic AI risks. Now, this PAC in particular will start by focusing on 4 battleground states, New York, California, Illinois, and Ohio, and says it is prepared to support both Democrats and Republicans. So, Paul, can you maybe unpack for us what's going on here? It sounds like AI might become a fairly significant issue in the 2026 midterm.
I've been saying for months this was going to be like, I think it's going to maybe be the issue going into the midterms next year. And, this is certainly a step in bringing that to life. So PACs, I've heard about them a million times. I've never actually taken the time to see like exactly how a PAC works. So I did quickly do the what is a PAC and how does it work kind of thing. So it's an organization in the U.S. that collects and distributes contributions from members or donors to support candidates, legislation, or ballot initiatives. They are regulated by the Federal Election Commission. Super PACs in particular, which this one is, can raise unlimited amounts of money from individuals, corporations, and unions, but cannot directly coordinate with candidates or parties. They primarily spend on advertising to support or oppose candidates. Super PACs have no contribution limits, but are restricted from direct coordination with campaigns. Okay, so then they put out their own press release announcing this, but I'm going to go into like the Wall Street Journal article. So as you talked about, they want to advocate against strict AI regulations. A signal that tech executives will be active in the elections. Andreessen Horowitz, head of government affairs, Colin McCune, Brockman, and OpenAI global affairs officer Chris Lehane were involved in initial conversations earlier in the year about the need to help shape industry-friendly policies. Leading the Future hopes to use campaign donations and digital ads to advocate for select AI policies and oppose candidates who group believes will stifle innovation. So as you were saying, one of its goals is to push back against the movement backed by some other tech titans that focus on regulating AI models before they get too powerful and create catastrophic risk for society. That's what happened in the EU. They were trying to set some limitations on like the training runs and how powerful the models could be, how much compute would go into them. So they're trying to avoid all that, avoid the state level stuff. The organization said it isn't pushing for total deregulation, but wants sensible guardrails. There's a quote that says, there is a vast force out there that's looking to slow down AI deployment, prevent the American worker from benefiting from the U.S. leading in global innovation and job creation, and erect a patchwork of regulation. Josh Valasto and Zach Moffat, the group's leaders, said in a joint statement, this is the ecosystem that is going to be the counterforce going into next year. It went on to say many tech executives worry that Congress won't pass AI rules, creating a patchwork of state laws that hurt their companies. Earlier this year, a push by some Republicans to ban state AI bills for 10 years was shot down after opposition from other conservatives who opposed a blanket prohibition on any state AI legislation. Now, the one thing I noted here is not only, do we have this super PAC showing up, Elon Musk, world's richest person, has said he was going to start a competing party. He was going to start the American Party?
The America Party, I
There
think.
we go. So he had threatened to basically take out Republicans who voted for the spending bill. His goal was to like take 5 to 7, seats in the House, and then have everybody have to go through them, basically. So whether you're Republican or Democrat, if you wanted something done, you were going to have to bow before these, 5 to 7 people that Elon was going to fund to get into office. He has apparently pumped the brakes. I hadn't heard about anything like 4 weeks, so I did a search. I was like, what's going on with Elon's party? So here is a August 19th article. It says, billionaire Elon Musk is quietly pumping the brakes on his plans to start a political party, according to people with knowledge of his plans. Musk has told allies that he wants to focus his attention on his companies and is reluctant to alienate powerful Republicans by starting a third party that could siphon off GOP voters. As he has considered launching a party, the Tesla chief executive has been focused in part on maintaining ties with Vice President J.D. Vance, who is a Silicon Valley guy, who is widely seen as a potential heir to the MAGA political movement. Musk has stayed in touch with Vance in recent weeks, and he has acknowledged to associates that if he goes ahead with forming a political party, he would damage his relationship with the VP. So he's maybe backing out of doing his own party, which I kind of guessed he was going to at some point, mainly because the current administration could dramatically damage Musk's companies. His SpaceX company obviously relies on government contracts, and the government relies on his SpaceX company to get back to the moon and beyond. So, I mean, there's a lot of incentive for Musk to not make tremendous enemies on the Republican side. And J.D. Vance is a logical person that Musk would align himself with. So, yeah, real interesting. Brockman, I couldn't find any prior political affiliations or activities from Brockman. This seems like his first foray. A16Z, or Andreessen Horowitz, was very publicly supportive of the Trump campaign this time around after the rumored disastrous meeting with the Biden administration related to their plans to regulate AI. So we
Mm.
talked about this in 2024, that Andreessen, not necessarily to the joy of their portfolio companies, was one of the first to really back the Trump campaign. And so it actually led me back to October 2023 when Andreessen Horowitz published the Techno Optimist Manifesto. So if you haven't been following along for the last 2 years, listen to the podcast every week. I'm going to rewind here for about a minute, and I'm going to read you a couple of excerpts from the Techno Optimist Manifesto. If you don't understand what Andreessen Horowitz is doing, if you don't understand what this super PAC is all about, this about sums it up for you. This is directly from their manifesto. Our civilization was built on technology. Our civilization is built on technology. Technology is the glory of human ambition and achievement, the spearhead of progress and the realization of our potential. We can advance to a far superior way of living and of being. We have the tools, the systems, the ideas. We have the will. It is time once again to raise the technology flag. It is time to be techno-optimists. Techno-optimists believe that societies like sharks grow and die. That's such a weird analogy. We believe growth is progress, leading to vitality, expansion of life, increasing knowledge, higher well-being. We believe not growing in stagnation, which leads to zero-sum thinking, internal fighting, degradation, collapse, and ultimately death. There are only 3 sources of growth: population growth, which is declining at the moment, natural resource utilization, which is somewhat limited, and technology. The only perpetual source of growth is technology. In fact, technology, new knowledge, new tools, what the Greeks called techne, has always been the main source of growth, and perhaps the only cause of growth, as technology made both population growth and natural resource utilization possible. Economists measure technological progress as productivity growth. How much more can we produce each year with fewer inputs, fewer raw materials? Productivity growth powered by technology is the main driver of economic growth, wage growth, and the creation of new industries and new jobs, as people and capital are continuously freed to do more important, valuable things than in the past. Productivity growth causes prices to fall, supply to rise, and demand to expand, improving the material well-being of the entire population. And then we'll close with their thoughts on AI. We believe intelligence is the ultimate engine of progress. Intelligence makes everything better. Smart people and smart societies outperform less smart ones on virtually every metric we can measure. Intelligence is the birthright of humanity. We should expand it as fully and broadly as we possibly can. We believe we are poised for an intelligence takeoff that will expand our capabilities to unimagined heights. We believe artificial intelligence is our alchemy, our philosopher's stone. We are literally making sand think. We believe any deceleration of AI will cost lives. Deaths that were preventable by AI that was prevented from existing is a form of murder. That is like 20% of the manifesto. So if you want to understand Silicon Valley's approach to this, if you want to understand 100 million is nothing. Like that is the starting point. That'll be $1 billion plus PAC within months. Like the midterms in the United States are going to be ground zero for AI. And if you don't believe me, just go back and reread the manifesto. Like they will not lose. Like Silicon Valley sees this as an inflection point in humanity. and they believe they have to win at all costs, no matter who that puts in office. They will fight to win this, and they have the backing of the richest people in the world to do it. So
If I were them too, I'd probably be anticipating and trying to get ahead of what we've discussed before, which is societal backlash
yep,
to AI, right? Because the big fear I would imagine is not just that federal regulations slow down AI, but that there's big backlash to say job loss or whatever the next new dangerous technology is that comes out. And the result is that every state level representative says, I want to hang my hat and make my career on like banning
yeah,
AI for X or whatever. And then suddenly you are off to the races
right.
of potentially slowing everything down in their eyes.
Yeah, and I'm no political strategist, but I mean, you can't fight the funding they're going to have access to. You have
Right.
to probably fight it with fear and emotion, and so it's just going to get ugly. Like
Yeah.
there, yeah, man. I don't even want to think about this. It's gonna be really really messy next year. I don't know any way. I don't know any way around it unless they somehow all the politicians come together and say, listen, we have to beat China, whatever they're going to rally behind, and they all unify behind America leading in AI, which it should. I just, how it happens, I don't know. Like, I don't know the right way to do it, but it's possible that both sides of the aisle in the United States come to an agreement that we need to win in AI and it needs to happen before the end of the decade. And so we're going to work together on this. I hope somehow that happens. I don't know what that looks like, but otherwise, yeah, it's going to get ugly.